What's up guys, my name is Andy. An easy way to keep an eye on your fuel pressure is to add a fuel pressure gauge, and we're gonna put this in between my fuel pump and my carburetor. On my car, I've got a fuel line with an AN fitting. I'm gonna add a little adapter that goes between that fuel line and the fuel rail on my carburetor. And we're gonna thread this gauge on there so we can keep an eye on our fuel pressures. Now my car, you can see I've got this fuel line, and on the end here is just an AN fitting. I'm gonna unthread this, scoot it back, I'm gonna put this little adapter piece in here and hook everything back up, and then I can thread in that fuel pressure gauge. Now on this fuel line here, I offer this on my website, KruseBuilt.com, and it will fit the fuel pressure gauge kit that I'm also offering on my website, and you can put it right here. If you've got this fuel line already, you already have the parts you need to go ahead and add this to your vehicle. What I'm gonna be installing is this liquid-filled fuel pressure gauge, and the reason why we want liquid-filled is it keeps the needle from bouncing. As there's fluctuations from your fuel pump, what we don't want to see is that needle bouncing all over the place because it's hard to read. The liquid-filled portion of it allows the needle to just calm down and you get a better average reading of what your fuel pressure is. On my vehicle, I need about 4 to 6 pounds of fuel pressure. On what I've got here, any more than 7 and I could flood my engine out, any less than 3 and I'll starve my engine. But on your vehicle, you may need more, and this will go up to 15 pounds. So there's quite a few vehicles that this will work for. And the first thing we want to do is disconnect this line, and because there's going to be fuel in here, we're going to want to put some towels under here so we don't spill that fuel everywhere. And we'll just crack this open. And this is the fitting that we're going to use. This is a -6AN female and male fitting. It'll fit right in what I've got going on here. I'm just going to thread it in place. I'm going to make sure that the port for the fuel pressure gauge is facing outward because I'm going to thread that in here. I'll tighten these up. And then we'll take this cap off of here. Now we don't want to put any Teflon tape on here because the fuel doesn't like the Teflon tapes. So we'll thread this guy in, and keep in mind too, where you want this thing to end up, it'd be great if the needle wasn't pointing up. And in my case, let's see how this comes out. Yeah, so this is actually pretty close. What I'm looking for is the needle, because I'm looking for a 4 to 6 pound range. So I want this thing to be, tighten this up. Now let's see, we're gonna, as we spin this down, we'll see where this ends up. And that's pretty good right there. So when this needle's doing its part, we'll see that it's gonna be probably around the 4, maybe 5 pound range on my vehicle. So we're still in the liquid, and that's what we want, just to keep that needle from bouncing around. And then here's the finished product. I think this looks pretty good. I like how it complements what I've got here, and it'll give me the fuel information that I'm looking for. All right, I gave it a few more turns just to make sure she's nice and tight, and a little rag here to catch any fuel in case it does drip and leak, but let's fire it up and see how it came out. Now a little bit of needle movement is okay. We just don't want the needle moving so much that you can't read what the pressure is. And it's just that easy to install one of these fuel pressure gauges on your vehicle. Again, head over to KruseBuilt.com. You can get yourself one of these gauge kits. And while you're there, grab yourself one of those fuel lines if you don't have one already. It makes this install even easier. Again, KruseBuilt.com. We'll catch you in the next one.